So I thought long and hard about this one. After growing multiple different Etsy businesses to some pretty decent revenue over the years, I thought if I could take everything that I've learned and boil it down to the most impactful, absolute best tip for your Etsy shop that's going to give you the highest return on investment, what would that single tip be? And my answer was pretty conclusive. It's unquestionably to get your images right for Etsy. So in this video, I'm going to show you proof of the effect that good images can have on your product sales by showing you results from real life split tests that's been carried out. And then I'll show you exactly how we can get these images that have the highest possible click-through rates for our products on Etsy, no matter what product type it is you're trying to sell. I'm Alfie, and I think we should first start with looking at some stats that actually prove and back up how important imagery can actually be on your Etsy sales. So take these two mugs here, for example, right? They're the identical product, everything is the exact same, the price, the SEO, the description. However, there's one key difference here, and that is the image that we've used for the thumbnail image of the product. So you can see one mug is using the free mock-up that you get as standard from Printify, and the other mug is using a much more clear and cleaner mock-up, which I actually paid for myself from Etsy. And then when you go in here and actually look at the stats for the two mugs, you can pretty clearly see that the one with the paid mock-up has made a lot more sales than the other one that uses the standard Printify mock-up. And when I look at this, I think it's a no-brainer because the Printify mock-up, in my opinion, is just a lot more cluttered, it's darker, and it just really doesn't catch the eye anywhere near as much as the other mock-up does. And I want to show you another example here, a bit more on the extreme scale, but as you can see here, these two listings, again, the exact same product, everything's the same, SEO type, like all of it's the same. However, one of the product images you can see, I can't even look at it without laughing. It's a bit of a joke of an image, to be fair, but yeah, it's just something I took myself. But I thought it's going to show you a really good, clear comparison now of the difference images have. So yeah, let's just take a look at what the stats are saying for this one. And of course, no prizes for guessing this at all. That the one with the better professional image had just so many more sales than the other image. It's unreal. And I just want to show you now another example from two other products which aren't print on demand products. So if you just take these two personalized wooden chopping boards here, they're both very similar in design, and like genuinely I would buy both of these products. I think they're actually both really good products. However, in my honest opinion, I think there's no comparing with the images at all. Like one of them is just so much more better and eye-grabbing than the other one. And let's just see if the stats for sales back this up as well. And when you actually look at the stats here for both of the listings on Everbee, you can see they've both been listed for pretty much around the same sort of time, so 20-ish months. However, one of them has just got so many more sales and interactions than the other one. And it's no surprise, people, of course it's the one with the much better imagery. So yeah guys, images, it is no joke. This is the effect it can have. And genuinely, I put pretty much 90% of the success that I've had with my Etsy businesses down to the quality and the time that I put in fine-tuning and making sure that I'm using the right images for my products. But now I actually want to dive that layer deeper and actually talk about the differences between what makes a bad image, what makes a pretty good standard image, but then the point that we want to get to is what gives us an image that's going to allow our listings to proceed and become a best seller. So I've got some personal principles which I always work for with my images, no matter if I'm selling Japanese tableware or if I'm selling other print on demand products. The same logic always applies. So number one, this is to make sure that the image is crisp, clear, and stands out and really pops out from the background. So take some of these images, for example, that I've had pretty good success with in the past in my personal stores. You'll notice with the Japanese tableware, the images, they stand out quite a lot from the background. And in general, the background, I try to always aim for a more contrasting color or a background that is more basic and plain in comparison to the actual product which I'm trying to sell. And I just apply the exact same logic for the images I use as mock-ups for my print on demand products as well. I always try and make sure that the actual product and the design is front and center, really pops out, and there's nothing distracting in the background at all. And then the second point, which definitely makes a bestseller image, is of course this should go without saying, but making sure that it is cropped correctly for mobile. So I'll show you these stats here, guys, that a massive portion of Etsy traffic these days is coming from mobile, and specifically the Etsy app. So for every image that you put out, can you please just promise me that you will start reviewing it on mobile as much, if not more, than what you review it on desktop? Please make sure that no part of the image is cut off, and if it is, of course, then just go back into your listing manager and you can very easily crop the image to make sure that everything looks good on the mobile phone screen. And the third thing that helps towards bestseller imagery is just using a consistent style with all of your images and just mastering it. So I want to show you these two stores as an example here. And you can see first with store A, that it's just a whole jumble of images, you know, there's no real style, they're all completely different, and nothing really has that consistent professional looking store vibe, even though, in my personal opinion, I think the actual product itself is pretty amazing. Like, I would genuinely buy this product. But yeah, sadly, I just think the store looks a little bit unprofessional with this imagery approach. However, if you compare that with store B, which has a super uniform approach and all of the images are really nice and simple and just flow perfectly with each other, I think it makes the store just look so much more professional. And you know, when you actually dive into the stats as well of how these two stores have performed, I think it's no coincidence that the store with the much more uniform imagery has performed so much better than the other store. So that should give you a bit more information now on kind of the approach to take when it comes to getting bestseller images. However, now let's look at how we can actually create them ourselves. So if you're going to be doing photography yourself, then of course a proper professional camera is always going to be the best option. However, that's not anything that I've personally done, and I can vouch for this now, guys. You can have amazing success with your product listings and take incredible photography just using an iPhone. Like, I record all of my content on my iPhone. Even these videos now, I record exclusively on my iPhone. And these things are they're just content creation machines. And so whatever product it is you're gonna try and take a photo of, always recommend to try and put it somewhere where it's got a real clear contrasting background. Make sure the background is as free from clutter as you possibly can. Plain, in my opinion, is always better. And just the more that you can get the product to stand out from the background, the better. And a really good way to do this is when you're actually taking the images on your iPhone, is to just switch over to the portrait setting. And what this is gonna do is it's just gonna create that natural blur around the product that you're taking photos of. In my opinion, it's just gonna give you such a better result and make the product just stand out so much more in the image. And then if you're selling print on demand products, I always recommend that you just invest a little bit of money up front and buy some proper mock-ups that you know convert so much better from Etsy. This is the approach I've always done. I know a lot of big other YouTubers recommend this as well. And you know, the results are just proven. Try and always focus on the cleanest mock-ups, and whatever you do, just make sure that the product stands out. And look guys, if you're still not making the sales on Etsy that you want to be making, then I can promise you that there are going to be some reasons for this. I've had enough positive results now working directly with you guys to know that with sometimes just a little bit of structure and guidance, any store and any business can become highly profitable. So as always, if you feel ready to take that next step and really start scaling your business in the right direction with a proven logical approach, then feel free to book in a free consultation call directly with myself. We'll see if we're a good fit to work together. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.